You ever see a moment so outrageous it just sticks to your soul like oil on water? Blood literally splattered across my Medal of Honor while a cop screamed slurs and pressed a gun to my head, right there, in front of the cameras, at my own son's military funeral. I know, it sounds like something from a bad movie, right? But that was my real life, right there at Jefferson Memorial Cemetery, the day the whole world stopped pretending these things only happen in the dark. There were 20 officers all around, eyes full of tears, hands glued to their guns, and nobody dared move, not even me. I just whispered, "Not today," and reached for my boy's folded flag, even as that trigger started to tighten. You could hear the shot echo for miles. If you think I'm making this up, just ask the internet. Somebody was streaming the whole thing before the day was even over. Let me back up a sec, because this all started 3 days earlier. I was staring out a tiny airplane window as we landed in Houston, my chest heavy like somebody stacked sandbags on it. My son, Marcus, had died in Afghanistan, serving a country that, honestly, never made it easy for folks like us. I'd survived 3 wars, climbed ranks that weren't built for black women, wore more medals than some generals twice my age, but none of that prepped me for burying my only kid. I put on my uniform that morning, the one with every stripe and ribbon, like it could protect me from falling apart. People on the plane nodded. A little girl asked for my autograph, her parents whispering, "That's a real hero," like I was some living monument. That glow disappeared quick when I hit the security checkpoint. Officer Bradley Reeves, stocky, white, never met a black woman in a general's uniform, clearly waves me over for random screening. I handed him my ID, explained I was in town for my son's funeral, but he just smirked, squinting at the name. "This looks fake. You steal this uniform." That kind of thing. The travelers went quiet, nobody wanting to get involved, nobody wanting to look away. 2 hours. 2 hours of him grilling me, making me take off my jacket, acting like my medals were costume jewelry. When my daughter, Amara, showed up, she's a lawyer, and believe me, she's got a backbone, he threatened to arrest her, too. Finally let us go, no apology. I went straight to his supervisor to complain, but the guy just leaned in and said, "If I were you, I'd let this go." Officer Reeves has friends. Complaints tend to turn into arrests. We left, but I saw Reeves on his phone, muttering, "Target confirmed. The general is here." That's when I realized I wasn't just dealing with a bigot. I'd landed on some secret Brotherhood's watch list, and they had plans for me. Back at the family house in Houston, it was all tradition, photos of my dad in Vietnam, me in Desert Storm, Marcus in Afghanistan. Every wall proof we'd given everything to a country that didn't always want us. The night before the funeral, my dad, Calvin, 78, still straight as a rifle, knocked on my door. "They say it was enemy fire, but I don't buy it," he said, handing me a thumb drive Marcus had mailed before he died. "If anything happens, give this to Mom," was the note. I plugged it in. There it was. Files, reports, photos, showing black service members coming home to Houston getting harassed, framed, beaten, sometimes worse, all by this group called the Gatekeepers. Guess who showed up in the photos? Officer Reeves, same smirk, different targets. Amara and I barely had time to react before she brought in a new player, Officer James Chin, young, nervous, Asian American, badge in his hand. He said Marcus had pulled him into an investigation months earlier, after a black Navy commander was nearly beaten to death in a traffic stop. Chin had proof, a network of cops, courthouse staff, even military liaisons, all connected. The Gatekeepers weren't just some local club. They were using official channels to track, harass, even manipulate deployment orders to get rid of troublemakers like Marcus. The funeral home director tried to move my son's service out of the Valor section to the old, colored side of the cemetery. Tried to tell me it was a capacity issue until a white groundskeeper stepped up and reminded him that Marcus and his son died together. That's how I learned some people will do what's right, even when it costs them. But there were warnings, 2 cops snooping around the cemetery, a creepy drawing slipped under my door with a target over my head. When the morning of the funeral came, it was all eyes on us. Marcus' fellow soldiers, family, media, and way too many police. Reeves and his crew searched black mourners, let white guests stroll right through, and then stuck all the black folks at the back, behind barricades. Subtle, right? I stood tall. My dad at one side, Amara at the other. When I got up to speak, I felt the eyes on me, felt Reeves closing in. I read Marcus' last letter out loud, how he discovered the Gatekeepers, how he feared for his life, how he wanted me to finish what he started. Right then, as the honor guard handed me the flag, Reeves stormed in, gun out, shouting, "You need to come with me," and pressed the barrel right into my temple. Cameras caught everything. "This black thinks she's untouchable," he snarled. Nobody moved. I whispered, "Not today," and reached for that flag. His partner fired a shot in the air, screaming, "She's reaching for a weapon." Total chaos. Reeves tackled me, smashed my face into the dirt, cuffed me in front of my son's open grave, then yelled to the crowd that I'd tried to attack them. "If you think that's as bad as it gets, hold up." Amara tried to get to me, got shoved back. My dad almost tackled the cops before they pinned him. Then the cavalry showed up, a black FBI agent named Dominic Carter, badge out, demanding answers, shouting at Reeves to release me. Reeves refused, told his men to start grabbing everyone's phones and cameras. Still, a veteran in the crowd managed to upload the whole scene before they took his phone. By the time I got to jail, the internet had the truth. Jail was everything you expect: cold, loud, humiliating. I was fingerprinted half a dozen times, called just another black criminal, denied phone calls, denied medical care. Word spread. By nightfall, hundreds of veterans were outside, lining the street, standing at attention, refusing to leave until I was free. Inside, something wild happened. The inmates, mostly women, circled around me. "You brought my brother home from Iraq," one of them said. "You're under our protection." Even a guard slipped me a burner phone so I could call Amara. She told me the Pentagon was watching, the media was losing its mind, and the FBI was trying to break me out. But the gatekeepers weren't done. They tried to freeze me out, sleep-deprive me, even send another inmate to take me out. But those women? They had my back. Third day, suddenly I'm told I'm being released. A federal judge overruled everything. I walk out to a sea of uniforms, cameras, and cheers. The story was everywhere now, impossible to bury. At the courthouse, Amara spoke to the press. Then I stepped up, in full uniform, and told America the truth. My son died serving a country that didn't always serve him. He was killed for investigating discrimination against black soldiers, and I will finish what he started. The governor showed up to apologize. The president called to promise justice. And for a second there, I thought maybe we'd finally cracked the wall. But no. Next day, they came for me again. Anonymous sources spread lies about my record, suggested I'd lost my mind, said Marcus only died because I'd ruined his career with affirmative action. My security clearance was suspended, I was investigated for extremism, and our bank accounts got hacked. The gatekeepers had friends everywhere: politicians, judges, military brass. That's when the twist hit. Officer Chin, still battered from his hospital stay, showed up with a flash drive, recordings of Chief Gaines, the top cop, and Senator Howard Maxwell, plotting to manipulate deployments and destroy black officers' careers. Amara, Carter, Chin, and a bunch of Marcus' fellow soldiers came together. We built our own counter-intel team, hid out at a retired Jags Lake cabin, and started fighting back. Even the governor's staff joined us in secret when his own son faced discrimination coming home from the army. I went straight to Chief Gaines, wired up by the governor's team, and got him on tape confessing. He admitted Maxwell pulled strings to get Marcus deployed into harm's way, all to protect their little empire. That evidence, plus Chin's recordings, our files, and witness testimony, was enough to drop the hammer. The FBI raided homes, arrested officers, Chief Gaines, and half the gatekeepers' crew. Maxwell tried to play the victim on TV, but Judge Hartman flipped and handed over decades of proof, deployment orders, sentencing logs, even campaign donations tied to gatekeeper operations. When I testified before Congress, I made it plain. This isn't just my family's tragedy. It's a betrayal of every promise this country ever made to its soldiers. Overnight, the Pentagon reinstated me, started their own probe, and the nation demanded justice. Maxwell was indicted, his campaign collapsed, the gatekeepers crumbled, and police reforms rolled out across Texas. A year later, we gathered to finish Marcus' funeral at the newly renamed Heroes Memorial Cemetery. The governor signed a new law protecting soldiers from discrimination, right there at my son's grave. Maxwell showed up, trying to shake my hand for the cameras. I handed him a recorder instead, the one with his voice ordering Marcus' fatal deployment. The crowd fell silent as the police led him away in cuffs, finally charged for what he'd done. Change came, and not fast, not clean, but real. New laws, new leaders, a new integrity unit in Houston PD led by Officer Chin. We started the right foundation to protect service members who face discrimination. I got promoted. I got my son's flag. I got a measure of peace. Standing by Marcus' grave, I realized the gatekeepers tried to bury the truth. but all they did was plant a seed. One that's still growing in every officer and soldier willing to call out injustice, in every community refusing to accept silence as the price of survival. We still have a long way to go, but we broke the old order. The question is, will we have the courage to finish the job? So tell me, if you were in my place, would you risk everything to blow the whistle, or keep your head down and hope it blows over? Comment below. Share your thoughts on what justice means. And if you believe these stories matter, spread the word. Because sunlight is the best disinfectant, and maybe, just maybe, this time the truth will stick.